Good morning, everyone. It is 11:30 and we are starting the webinar. This is Katrina Stoops, e-learning faculty development coordinator, and I wanted to take a moment to welcome all of you to our webinar series, CSI CityU. And CSI stands for Connect, Share, and Inspire. This webinar series is designed to connect us with our fellow teachers, colleagues, and share best practices and hopefully inspire to adopt some new teaching strategies into our classrooms. So this is the second webinar, and the topic today is hands-on with CityU's new course conferencing tool, Collaborate Ultra. And before we begin our session, I would like to go over some house rules for this webinar. So this webinar is a workshop style webinar. It is a hands-on style session, and our presenter, Whitney, who I will introduce in a minute, will be showing you how to use Collaborate Ultra. So we would like to encourage all of you to use your microphones and cameras when you want to speak or when you're participating in activities that Whitney prepared for you. But when you're not speaking, please turn off your mics, mute your mic so we're not getting any background noise. If you have any technical issues while we are progressing through the webinar, you can use the chat to let us know about the issue you're experiencing. Or if you lose connectivity and Collaborate, you can always email us at bbsupport@cityu.edu. We are monitoring our emails and we'll help you get back to Collaborate. Okay, so now that we've covered the rules, I would like to introduce our presenter, Whitney Boswell. Whitney is the e-learning project coordinator. She joined CityU in October 2014. And as the e-learning project coordinator, Whitney manages various e-learning projects, portfolios, and of course evaluations, Collaborate Ultra, and many more. Whitney is also an instructional designer, and she helps faculty develop their online and mixed mode courses in Blackboard. Whitney is also a member of Faculty Standards Development Committee and President's Council on Sustainability. Her areas of expertise include secondary education, adult learning, organizational training, instructional design, and academic technologies. And without further ado, Whitney, please take it away.
Thank you, Katrina. This is Whitney. Hello. Welcome everyone to this webinar. It's all about getting a hands-on experience with Collaborate Ultra. For many of you, Collaborate might sound familiar, it might bring up nightmares, it might make you have sort of apprehension about it, but I'm here to guide you through and let you know that this newer version of Collaborate is so much better and is much more stable and intuitive than the older version. So what is Collaborate Ultra? Collaborate Ultra is a web-based conferencing system. It is embedded within every Blackboard course, including your My Workspace shell. You can use it to have live synchronous group meetings and class discussions, record student presentations, as well as hold office hours. In this webinar, you will learn about Collaborate Ultra's interface, tools, and best practices, practice using the tools available within Collaborate Ultra, and create a plan to integrate Collaborate Ultra into your own course. So, Objective 1. For this first part of the webinar, I want you as participants to be able to drive what is demonstrated. So I'm going to show you a still image of what Collaborate Ultra looks like in a course, which is the setup area, and then another still image of what it looks like in the browser, similar to what you see now. Each image will have numbers around certain areas, and I'll explain the main components of them. This is to give you a general idea of what's available, but as you watch, I'd like you to type in the chat what you would like demonstrated in real life in a real course or a real session. So let's get started. The the way to access Collaborate Ultra in a course is to, in any course, go to the Course Tools area and click on Course Tools under the control panel, which will open up an area to click on Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. Once you click on that, you'll see this right-hand area show up, which is the home for Collaborate Ultra, and you'll see there is a course room. So the course room is really supposed to be a place where anyone can join at any point in time, just really quick or whenever they need to. And to have students be able to do this without the instructor, it's important that they join as moderators. So to do that, you're going to click on the ... over here for number 2. So number 2 is course room settings and reports. So you'll click there to change participants to be moderators so that they can join anytime. From there, you can also look at the reports for the course room, get the guest link, disable the course room, and change the availability of tools. Number 3 is to join the room. So that when you click on that link, it actually opens a new browser window and you're in the session. So that's the course room. The other option you have is using a session room. So create sessions for recordings, teams or groups, class discussions, or presentations. So to create a session, you'll see number 4 is a plus sign. That is how you create new sessions, and you can create as many sessions as you like. So you'll have the same settings for the session as you do for the course room, except you have a couple of extra things. You get to decide a start date, an end date, or have no end date. You can repeat a session. You can give early access to a session. And a little bit about sessions, they should be used with no end date and the participant as moderator for teams or groups so that they can access it throughout the quarter. If you want to have individual students record presentations, create a session for each student with them as moderators so they can record and present on their own. If you want to have a class discussion at a specific time, give a presentation, give them their own rooms or their group rooms or classroom named specifically for them, and have them join as participants. So having them join as participants means they can't mess up with anything that you're presenting. So if you want to give them a presentation, have them join as participants so that they're just watching. All right. Number 5 shows you where you can edit that session after you've created it. So if you want to go back and edit it, if you want a guest link for it, or if you want to view reports, that number 5 is where you would click. And then to join the session, you would click on the session name, and it also opens in a new browser window. And finally, to find recordings you've recorded in a session or the course room, you're going to click on the 3 dashes in the top left-hand corner, and that will take you to recordings. So the reason why you want sessions to be, if you want to record, use a session, is because the recording takes on the name of the session or the name of the room in which it is recorded in. So if you record in the course room, you're just going to get a bunch of course room recordings without any identifying information. And we're going to move into the browser. So once you open it, you'll see there are some different things you can do. Number 1, near the bottom, down here, is kind of the basic things. You already know about them: turning on and off your audio and your video, raising your hand, and quick access to your settings. Number 2 is the 3 dashes in the top. It's the room menu. And as a moderator, this is where you start recording and then stop recording. So once you start, it will turn to stop. It's also where you have quick access to use your phone for audio if you have issues with your microphone on your computer, as well as reporting an issue. So reporting an issue here is very helpful for Blackboard to give us a better experience as we go along. And then the last 2 are links to Blackboard Incorporated's documentation on Collaborate. And at the very bottom, there's a Leave Session button, and this allows you to give some feedback to Blackboard when you leave on your experience. So this also helps us get a better experience later on. So finally, the last area is this white pop-out over here on the far right-hand corner of the screen, and this has the meat of everything. So number 3 is where you chat, which you've seen already. Number 4 is where you see a participants list. So this shows you everyone who's joined. If they have their microphones on, you can actually make them presenters or moderators from here as well within the live session and see how good their internet connection is. Number 5 is where you share things. So the top one is sharing a blank whiteboard, which you can draw on and type on. The second is sharing an application. This can only be done in Chrome browser, which is why I asked you to join in Chrome today. And that is sharing your desktop. And then the third is sharing files. You can share PowerPoints, PDFs, and images. 2 ways to engage with students is polling. So this is a way to poll students based on predetermined questions you've already made. So you put a question in your PowerPoint and some answers, and then you put up a poll and have them answer them live. And then finally, breakout groups. So breakout groups will actually do later on, and I'll show you how to do them. So we're actually going to experience them today. And then finally, number 6 is settings. This is where you can change your notification settings and set up your audio and video. So let's move to the next part. What do you want to see? What do you want me to demonstrate? So hold on a second while I look at what there is. So I'm going to stop sharing the PowerPoint, and I'm actually going to share my screen. So you'll see a lovely mirror image for a minute. That just means I'm sharing the screen that we're in. And I'm going to jump into a separate session. And so you'll see we're here in the session. And to share my screen in this course, I'm going to click on the purple icon in the bottom right, and then click on the box with the arrow coming out for share content, and then share application. So the first time you click on share application, it's going to ask you to download a Chrome extension. So you'll click on add extension a couple of times, and then it will add it, and then you'll have to come back and click on share application again. But then you will see this, and you choose entire screen or screen 1 or whichever screen you'd like to share, and then share. So once you do that, you'll see the lovely mirrored image, and then you can move on to share whatever you'd like to share. So Word documents can't be uploaded, so if you want to share a Word document, you can do it this way. You can see while I'm sharing, you can see the stop sharing down here at the bottom. So if you want to stop sharing, you just click stop sharing, and then you can't see it anymore. So that is how you share your application. So I'm going to go into a different room, a different session. And in here, if you click on the Collaborate panel and you're a moderator under Share Content, if I had a PowerPoint that I had questions in, I could upload it here. So I'm going to click the plus button to add files, and I'm actually going to add a poll question. And once it uploads, it gives me the ability to share. So once I share it, the students can see it, and then I click on polling. And this one has 5 answers, so I'm going to click 5 and then start. And you'll see we come up with the 5 answers, and I'm going to pull up the students' view. And so they're going to answer, I think it's 4. And then as instructor, I'm going to see one person answered 4. But in the participants list, I can see Jim answered 4. And then once everyone's done, I can show everyone's responses. I can clear it, we can do it again, and then to stop sharing anything, you just look for the little stop icon. When I click Share Blank Whiteboard, it gives me a blank whiteboard. And you'll see up in the top right-hand corner, I have the select icon, a pointer, a pencil, shapes, text, and clearing. So clearing will clear the entire board, but you can actually also just click on something and delete it. So if I have a few things here and I only want to delete one thing, I click on it and delete. Whereas clear, if I click on clear, deletes everything. So on the shared whiteboard, if you allowed students to use the tools to draw and text and write text on it, then they'll be able to. But if you did not allow them to do that, then only you will be able to do that. Anyone who's a moderator automatically has the ability to do that. Sharing a PowerPoint. So under Share Files is where you can share it. So you'd click to add and find your PowerPoint, and then it would upload. So here I already have one. So once it's uploaded, I click on it and then Share Now. And then I get to choose which one I want to start on. So I want to start on the first one, and voila, there is the first one. So now all of my students will be able to see this and draw on it. So as I go through it, if I want to draw on it and demonstrate more things, I can. And then you can move through the deck, or you can use these back and forth icons near the bottom to go back and forth through the slide. And then stop. Okay, so groups. Let's go through groups. So I'll be showing breakout groups a little later, but this way you'll be able to see what an instructor sees during the breakout groups. So I'll show you just a moment. Okay, so we have breakout groups. You click on it, and then you have the ability to either randomly assign or custom assign. So if I want to custom assign students, it gives me the list of students and myself, and I just click on them and drag and drop them into which group I want them to be in. Alternatively, I could randomly them, so I want two groups, one group of 3, one group of 2, and then before we jump in, I can make sure that it looks all right to me. You'll see it leaves me in the main room. So once I have them set up the way I want, I click Start, and then everyone sees this group or that image, but you see it saw it. Mine said you're going to stay in a main group in the main room, but each individual student saw you will be put into group 1 or group 2. So as the instructor, I am in the main room where no one else is, but to join a group, I'm going to go join group 2. I'm going to hit the door icon right next to group 2, and when I do that, it's going to pull me from the main group to group 2. So each time that you go into a group or back into the main room, your audio will not be working, so you'll want to turn that on again. And then you can chat with the members and see how they're doing. And once you're done, I'm going to go visit group 1. So I'm going to click on the door next to group 1 and move on over here. Turn on my audio again, and discuss with them, see how they're doing. So that's how you create a group. You'll want to give them a specific amount of time in their group. So demo and APA in a group, I think, was the question. So how you might do this is you put these people in a group and you say, okay, you have 15 minutes to, I'm going to share with you let's say 3 different references that I'd like you to put in APA, and each of you needs to put them in APA. So in that group, you could actually have them share a whiteboard. So I'm going to go in as a student. So they're going to share a blank whiteboard, and there are 2 people in this group. So they're going to split the whiteboard down the middle, and each one gets their own side. And so they have 3 things that they need to put in APA, and then they might each put what they think it is, and then they can discuss why they did what they did, or if it's how to put it in text and write it, you could do that as well. So that is maybe how you might do that in APA, although there's probably other options you could do as well. So to stop breakout groups, as the moderator, you just click on the stop icon right up here, and then it pulls everyone back to the main room. And then it'll take a minute for everyone to get back in, and then you'll want to turn on your audio again so it can hear you. And that's it. So thank you for your questions, and we're going to move to the next piece of Objective 1, which is best practices. So the best practices for Collaborate Ultra can be found on the Help Center, but I'll briefly cover them here. The first is to prepare students early. If you know you'll be using Collaborate, create a Get Acquainted or orientation session to increase student comfort with Collaborate and work out any technology issues before you are in the session where you need to focus on the content. The second is to start and end your sessions on time. This respects both the students and your own time. Next are a whole bunch of items to prepare yourself ahead of time. So make sure that you will not have any distractions around you, cats, dogs, children. Make sure that your technology works. Greet students and have some small talk before the session. Consider your class size as it relates to what you will be able to do in the session and what tools you will need to use. Establish some ground rules for what students should or should not be doing while in the session, such as raising their hands, shouting out answers, respectful discussion, that sort of thing. And some great questions to ask yourself to create expectations for the content of the session are, what do I and the students need to accomplish by the end of the session? What type of participation am I expecting from everyone in the session? Which tools am I going to use, and do students know how to use them? Which presentation style will be best to accomplish these goals? And is it too long? Should I break it up into multiple sessions? And then send an agenda for the session beforehand so students know what to expect when they join. The next best practice is to start with simple tools. Try not to overwhelm your students too soon with too many at one time. This also helps you. Send a reminder to students a few hours beforehand with the student getting started tutorial, and define which room they should join. And remember to be inclusive. Have an idea of who is in the room with you and make sure that everyone who wants to be heard is heard. And finally, be prepared for some technology problems, because most likely there will be some at some point. In the tutorials, there are ways to address the technology issues that are typical, but also be prepared to reschedule if needed. Everything I've covered today is detailed in the tutorials that are located on the Faculty Help Center, found at the URL on the screen, under Collaborate Ultra Web Conferencing. So student tutorials are found similarly on the Student Help tab, right there. If you as instructors need extra help or assistance, please email us at bbsupport@cityU.edu and we'll be happy to help you. All right, Objective 2, practice using the tools available within Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. So in this, you'll see we're going to breakout group now, and you'll be able to share your whiteboard, share your screen, and share files, and poll. We're going to do some practice. So once we get into the breakout groups of 2 or 3, have the chance to do one of these tools or 2 of these tools and test it out. A moderator will be in each of the breakout groups, so feel free to ask them questions if you have them. This is your time to play and fail and have fun and test them out. So we'll have practice for about 7 minutes, and I will give you a 2-minute warning through the chat when you have 2 minutes left so that you can wrap it up and get ready to be pulled back into the main room. This next part that we're going to go into is the third objective for today's webinar, and that's how do you want to use it? How do you plan to use it? What is one way you might use Collaborate Ultra in one of your courses or in your job? And go ahead and just shout it out. This is discussion time, so
well, I want to be ready in case we have a snow day.
Hey.
Rain days don't count. This is Laura. I would like to just be able to use it for teaching CAPSM. It's a very challenging program students really struggle with, so I need to walk them through it, my online students.
Yeah, having just I know what it is, but not having like much experience with it, I can tell how that would be a really, really great thing for students to get that more visual one-on-one help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Thank you.
Mike, you had an idea?
Yeah,
Or a plan?
I use Collaborate in a variety of ways, but I use it primarily with online students who are scattered all over the state and all over the country, sometimes even in countries overseas, and they rarely, if ever, have a chance to actually see or hear each other. Discussion forums certainly don't do it very well in Blackboard. So this gives them an opportunity to see and hear each other and to kind of interact in a real-time way and make that personal connection that would otherwise be missing through use of other Blackboard tools. So we hold a webinar early in the quarter to make that personal connection, which makes communicating via the other asynchronous tools much easier because they have an image of what the other person looks like and what the other person sounds like, so they can kind of attach those other two senses to the keyboard strokes that they otherwise recognize other people in the discussion forum as being. We do a debriefing webinar at the end of the quarter, and depending on the nature of the particular course, we might have another webinar in which the students deliver like capstone presentations or some other kind of a presentation during the quarter.
Another time that we're available for questions or extra things we just never had time to cover in class if it's if it's mixed, and even more so important for our online classes because it is so difficult at times trying to get certain concepts across where you just wish you could be face-to-face with them. So this is, and so much more elegant, may I say, than the original Collaborate. This is just really nice.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great idea and a great option for you.
Yeah, this is T. I'm thinking this, I just mentioned this to Aaron, this will be really great. I totally agree with Robin on the online classes because I spent a fair amount of time in the first class meeting going through everything that's required for the course, for the students to get through the course and what the expectations are when it's on site, and that's easy. But for the online group, it's a lot more challenging, and some of the assignments can be confusing to them. And once you speak with them, which I typically end up doing, actually having telephone conversations, I can kind of walk them through the whole concept. But this would be so much better to have the visual with it as well. So I intend on using really most all of my online courses. I'd really like to use this tool. I did mention to Aaron as well when we were in our breakout group that I see it being more of a challenge learning how to use this for undergraduate students than for the graduate group. And some of them are, they're savvy when it comes to some forms of technology, but they get very even confused about Blackboard in general, and even if they've used it before. So
It might be helpful to do the kind of the orientation with them to give them a quick look at it and help them kind of guide them through it and allow all those issues to happen.
I think that would be outstanding because otherwise it's just not going to be effective for them, for the vast majority of them. So,
yeah. Mike, did you want to say something?
Yeah, do you, so I like the shared Blackboard. Well, I teach, first of all, I teach MBA 520 in person. So I get plenty of face time with the students. But it occurs to me that I could put material up for a shared whiteboard session. And it wasn't clear to me whether I could use, let's say, a slide presentation or a drawing, an engineering drawing or something like that as the background for a whiteboard presentation.
Yeah, so it's not the whiteboard, but the upload files, share files. You can share PowerPoints and any images there, and then you can draw on them as well.
So I didn't understand that you could draw on the images. That's cool. Okay. So I could put up drawings or slides, and then they can type on them and circle things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Great. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
And I can see using office hours in order to do a initiative into the how to use Blackboard and everything. After putting several announcements up, I still have students saying, well, I don't understand what we're supposed to be doing. So I can see that as an orientation.
Yeah, it works great as an orientation.
I like the office orientation as a kind of an easier way to start, but I ultimately would like to be able to use it. I have a couple of classes where the students have presentations, so I think it would be great for that.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people in our pilot for Ultra use it, and they love it. And in the tutorial, there's actually, for the student and the instructor, I have how they can record it and then how they can post that recording if you do individual presentations into discussion boards or into their assignment. So, anyone else have ideas about how they might use it in their course?
What about our user fear factor? Excuse me. That's a personal issue I have to get over.
So like student fear factor of using the technology?
And my own. I guess I'm shy when it comes to camera or whatever, but I can work on that.
Yeah, and like we did today, like it doesn't have to be perfect, and you can test it out little by little and just kind of get yourself comfortable with it and get students comfortable with it over time. It doesn't have to be all right now.
Right, and like everything else, it's got to be hands-on in order to really learn it.
Exactly. Try it out, test it out. I know most of your courses are in person?
Yeah, I've taught one mixed mode course, so I'm about to do one starting in January.
So this would be really great for a mixed mode in the off week.
Mm-hmm. That's why I thought it'd be really good to learn some of this.
Yeah, that'd be perfect to have your off week. You all join in and share a presentation, and yeah, that'd be great. So that is it for tonight. Thank you for having some courage to try something new and have a little fun with us. So I'll let you, Katrina, wrap things up, but thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Whitney, and thank you, everyone. So I would like to let everyone know that I will be sending out an email tomorrow with the evaluation form, and it's just a few questions that we would like you to respond to. CSI webinar series is new, and we would greatly appreciate your suggestions and feedback. And also a quick reminder that We have one more webinar scheduled for this quarter. It will be next month in November, and the presenter, Ellen Caruso, will be sharing her strategies on how to provide an effective feedback. So if you are interested in attending this webinar, and if you haven't registered yet, please register as soon as possible. We have just a few seats left. And also stay tuned for more announcements for other webinars that we will be offering in winter, and then in spring. We plan to offer at least one webinar each month. So we'll have different topics, and I'm working on the schedule for the winter quarter, and I will share an announcement with the topics for the winter quarter and the times very soon, so stay tuned for that. And again, thank you everyone for coming, for participating, for your questions and your comments, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.